It's round 3 of the Highline Tex-A-Con Truck Series. Today we head up north to the twists and turns of Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I'm your producer and lead commentator, River Page, and today qualifying getting underway a little earlier than expected. Right now watching the number 93 of Justin Gibbs. Have a great show to put on today. 45 minutes of racing action here at Motorsport Park. And 9 minutes of qualifying left. Jersey right on board with Justin Gibbs. It was Chad Winstead who came home in the top spot in practice for the second week in a row, I believe. Just ahead of Lucas Lodato in the 7 machine. Here is Lodato coming out of what I believe would be turn 3. Don't know this track very well, but now going to the left here, that would be turn 4 if I'm thinking right. Then uphill through 5 and 6. And a very, very difficult track to conquer with the truck. Very slow corners and very high speed corners. It's going to be hard to keep the tires in check, keep the rear end in check, and keep all 4 tires on the racetrack here as we watch the 7 of Lucas Lodato make his way around Chad Winstead. First in practice, making his way under the Continental Bridge and down through 4. And that left-hander up the hill to 5 and then 6. Goes Chad Winstead in the number 34 Worth machine. But back up to the front, Justin Gibbs is going to be one of the first to be on a lap right now, as he's all the way through 3 now, and coming down the hill, he's going to hit turn 4. See, having to be very smooth on the gas, can't use all of that exit space there, just trying to limit your throttle inputs as much as possible. Now down the hill through what I believe will be turn 4 again, and hard braking zone up the hill to 5 and 6, all the way down to what I believe will be first gear for the number 93 machine. And out of the corner and back up the hill under the Mobile One bridge goes the 93 of Justin Gibbs. I don't believe anyone is on track ahead of him. We'll have to see here. Tyler Rush, another car out on the track a little bit behind him. Garrett Sidnor down the straightaway, down the back straightaway here. Hunter Searles now crossing the line to start his first lap. Connor Holden down the back straightaway, back up to Justin Gibbs. He's going to be the first one to the final corner. And that's going to be turn 9, I believe. Down the front straightaway goes the 93. He's the first one across the line. It's a 1:23.8 for Gibbs, and for the most part, it's going to be up to the provisional lead and the provisional pole here. That spot is gonna hold for now. Dylan Pody to second. Just about a second off of Justin Gibbs. Gibbs running very wide down the hill. Looks like he is not going to attempt another lap. Happy with that. Now going back to Chad Winstead, who was fastest in practice, but that's a pretty solid lap for Justin Gibbs. We'll see if the 34 has anything for him. Now down the back stretch, up into 4th gear. Lucas Lodato to the pole now with a 1:23.1. That's about 7/10 up on Justin Gibbs. Here comes the 34. 2 more corners to make something happen for the 34 machine of Chad Winstead through turn 9, using all of the exit space available onto that pavement on the left side of the curb. And down the front stretch, Chad Winstead's going to go into the first spot by 1/10 of a second over Lodato. And Lucas Lodato is still on the track. He wants to set another lap. Can he beat Winstead now? There's a couple seconds separating them on the track right now. The 7 goes in very deep at the top of the hill, slides off the track, and that's going to be it for the Bearcat Motorsports machine. Winstead on the track still looks like he's going for another lap. Hunter Searles goes to the 4th spot in the 77 machine. Tyler Rush out on track. He's in the 6th spot sitting in pit road. Colton Gardner to 7th now. He's going to be pushed back to 8th. Garrett Sidnor goes to 3rd in the 50 machine after a heartbreaking wreck in Phoenix, looking to come back. Now he sits in 3rd. Colton Gardner's going to go to 8th. And now everyone losing a spot. That's Connor Holden going to P5 on the board. Now just 5 minutes left in qualifying to get this show on the road. But it is Connor Holden now in the position 5 here, going through turn 3 all the way on the edge of the track. But he goes in too deep. That's going to be a wheel hop and a spin for the 81. So no more laps for the Swamp Motorsports number 81 Chevrolet. Now 10 trucks have set a lap. Jason Harris out on the track, but he's just going to be sitting in pit road. Xavier Moore is going to be heading right at the top of the hill, I believe. That's going to be turn 3. Now he's going to come downhill on, I believe, hit turn 4, but it looks like the 79 slowing down a little. Now back up to the gas and on the pace. Jacob Holm crossing the line, P8 for the 76 machine. But I don't think anyone's going to be able to get to Winstead. He did a 1:23.1 last time, but it doesn't matter. He did not need a quicker lap, and he didn't quite get it. He's going to be a 10th ahead of Lodato, and he's going to be about 6/10 ahead of Garrett Sidnor, 7/10 back to Justin Gibbs, and 1.4 seconds back to Connor Holden in 5th. And it's going to be a tight battle for the top spot throughout the race. This is going to be one heck of a show. We hope you stick around to see the end. David Kreutz is live right now with the Integrity Ignite series over on the other stream, but I recommend you stick with us. This is going to be one heck of a show today. Rights and lefts in the NASCAR truck. This is a very fun combination, and surely to provide some great racing. Have you seen in real life so many last lap passes in the final corner, up into turn 5 in the hard braking zones, so many places to pass. Here we watch the 88 of Jason Harris out on the lap in the reputation number 88 Ford F-150. Trying to make something happen. Not that quick through turn 7 there. Losing a little bit of time, but it looks like he's going to be all right. And he's definitely going to put a lap down. He's still on the pace. I don't think he's gone off track here. And across the line goes Harris. And he is going to go, let's see, that was actually his out lap, I believe. And now Jason Harris is going to be on a lap here. See, in 3rd gear. Up into 4th, I believe, down the hill, but gets into 3rd gear and gets it very loose. Harris going for a big slide on board with the Ford F-150 machine here, trying to control the throttle, but getting really wound up. Now all the way to the inside, but it's going to be very tough. Almost off-camber corner there, turn 4, or turn 3 again, I should say. And here comes Harris down the hill through 4, and we'll give you a little bit of an onboard perspective here. This part of the track all the way up the hill, steep incline here. You're just going to keep turning it right, 180 degrees there. A little bit of banking on the inside of the track right there through 6. And now down the straightaway, going to be all over the throttle. Basically topping out your truck here. He goes up into 4th gear, so he was in 2nd gear for most of that beginning of the lap. That could be why he's so unstable. Maybe some of these faster guys in a higher gear trying to keep the wheel spin to a minimum, but Harris right on the red and white curbs using all of the track. In through turn 8, doesn't quite hit his apex there, and now to the very outside for turn 9. And to the inside of 9, way out to the exit of the corner, right on the edge of the track, and Jason Harris is going to go right into the 12th spot. He's going to take 1 position away from Xavier Moore, but that is all for him. Roberto Ramirez, I believe, out on the track. He's just going to be sitting in pit road, so Ramirez making his 2nd start in the Truck Series. I believe he'll be the only Cup Series, or Premier Series driver, I should say, making a start today. The rest of these guys are regulars to my knowledge. But right now, it's Chad Winstead on the pole with just under a minute remaining. And no one else on track to set a lap right now. It's just Bate and Harris on pit road. Harris actually going for another lap here, and we'll see if the 88 can make anything happen. The only driver out on pit, or out of pit road right now, and trying to make something happen. Doesn't quite get to the apex there on the inside of turn number 6, and down the back straightaway goes the 88 machine, trying to make something happen and get up past that 12th position. 13 trucks set a lap out of the 19 in the session. And not that many drivers as we've seen before. And it's going to give some guys who are in need of points and in need of a good finish a great opportunity to do just that. Here comes the 88. One final time through turn 8, and turn 9 goes a little bit wide just like last lap. Trying to cut it in closer to the curbs here, and he does that. He's going to get right down to the bottom. Here comes Harris out of the final corner. The last car on the track, and Jason Harris is going to improve upon his lap by 1 position around Dylan Bate in 12th. But that should just about do it for qualifying. 10 seconds left and no one out on the track. It's going to be Chad Winstead out on pole. And we'll get those qualifying results up on the screen as quickly as possible. But Chad Winstead on top in practice, on top in qualifying, alongside Lucas Lodato in the 7. A very solid result for Lodato. And here is your qualifying results. Chad Winstead taking the pole position with a 123.080. Alongside him is going to be Lucas Lodato in the 7 machine with a 123.194. Garrett Sidnor lines up in the 3rd position with a 123.757. And just beside him and just behind him in the times by 1/10 of a second is Justin Gibbs in the 93 machine with a 123.871. Starting in the 5th position, row 3, Connor Holden with a 124.572 alongside Hunter Searles with a 124.728. Starting in the 7th position is going to be Dylan Podied in the 31 with a 124.950, and alongside him is Jacob Holm with a 124.971. Then it's back to Tyler Rush in the 9th position, the first driver into the 125s with a 125.096, and Colton Gardner, the last truck in the top 10, with a 125.532. Going back into the 6th row is going to be Jason Harrison, the 88, with a 125.692. And alongside him is Dylan Bate in the 26 machine with a 125.899. The final driver to settle lap was Xavier Moore with a 130.805. Adam Boss, Cody Buster, Ty Smith, Scott Puckett, Dylan Wedgwood, and Roberto Ramirez will not settle lap. That's 14th back to 19th. And that is your starting grid for tonight's race. Congratulations to the 34 machine of Winstead out on pole. And he's got one truck behind him that has been able to match his pace through the 2 sessions so far, and that is the 7 machine of Lucas Lodato. He's going to need to make a move early here and race that 34 as hard as he can if he wants a shot. I think the 34 is definitely going to be the truck to beat. As the driver's starting to roll off the grid, the Porsche pace car makes its way down into turn 1, the right-hander. And we can give you a little onboard lap here with Chad Winstead as the pace car leads the field here. You're going to go through turn 1, the sweeping right-hander. One of the fastest sections of the track is going to be turn 1 and turn 2. As you head through turn 1, you're going to be all over that exit curb, using up all of the track, and you're going to head right up here onto the crest, one of the highest positions on the track. When it comes to elevation, and it's downhill through the left-hander on board with Lodato. Here he's going to be on the bottom. Right there, the grass abruptly cutting you off. You're going to have to run way wide to that rumble strip on the outside. Again, one of the fastest sections on the track, over 100 miles an hour coming down into turn 3. It's a right-hander sweeping almost 180 degrees, maybe about 130 here, as Winstead leads the field through turn 3. And after 3, you're going to get it straightened out down the hill under the Continental Bridge. And to turn 4, you're going to be going downhill and to the left. It's a very unstable section of racetrack 4 of this truck. And then right back up to turn 5, equally as unstable, off camber uphill. And you're going to be downshifting almost 2 or 3 gears, depending on if you're in 3rd or 4th down the hill. And you roll out of here, 1st gear, all over the loud pedal, possibly 2nd if you want to conserve those rear tires. Down the back straightaway, you could call it, and you're going to get up to turn 7 after this long straightaway, the longest on the track. Drivers getting into 4th gear, possibly hitting 130, 140 miles an hour, maybe 150 if they're lucky. And down the straightaway, lots of bumps, ups and downs like a roller coaster down the straightaway. And you make your way through the small kink on the backstretch. I don't believe that is going to count as a turn. I'm just going to go off of what seems to be a turn to me. I don't have a track map handy here, but as they go through turn 8, that's going to be, or turn 7 rather, it's the right-hander right onto that curb. We've seen Winstead going way wide and then apexing here on the 2nd curb. And then through turn 8, the left-hander, getting it straightened out all the way to the left-hand side of the track, where we've seen so many iconic passes made in real-life racing. But here we go for the green flag to drop, and we're going to get it going here. And we're going to get the green flag now down into turn 1. Chad Winstead, Lodato even with each other. And they make sure they're not doing a jillion laps there. But now the 7 of Lodato fights back on the bottom, trying to make something happen here. And Lucas Lodato takes the lead with the inside advantage. And one driver way off the track, and that's going to be Dylan Podied into the tire barriers. And Podied could be race ending already. The 12 of Cody Bussard has joined him in the grass. Both of those guys get it rolling, and back up to the front of the field, it's Lodato leading the pack. 44 minutes to go. Lodato down through turn 4, sweeping back up the hill into 5. The 7 machine using up all of the track. Can Chad Winstead make anything happen? He's a little bit quicker, and he has been. And someone getting into the wall in the back of the field, and I'm not quite sure who that would be. Big damage on the 14 of Dylan Wedgwood, and we'll try and get a look on that as quickly as we can. And it looks like Wedgwood's going to get right into the back of Colton Gardner here, but no harm, no foul. Oh, the one of Ramirez gets in the back into him, but he's still going, and trucking is the number 14 machine. And back up to the front of the field, Lodato starting to stretch the gap a little bit back to the 34 through turn 9 to complete lap number 1. And it looks like with these lap times, they're going to get in maybe 50 or maybe 23, 22 laps, depending on if there is going to be any cautions and how the lap times fall off. But it's a 127 there. It's going to be 123s when it's not on a restart, as Lodato makes his way back down the hill out of turn 2 and extending the gap to Winstead. The 34 trying to make something happen. It's 5/10 back to the pole sitter through turn 3. A very good camera angle. There's we see Garrett Sidnor, one truck behind him. Connor Holden going way wide into 3 and down the hill through 4. Here comes the 7. You can see how unstable it is. The rear end kicking out on the Lodato machine. Chad Winstead bouncing off of the curbs, but sticking right within 0.5 of a second. The difference for the lead. The 34 trying to get a good run out of turn 6, but Lodato pulls away down the straightaway, extending the lead even more. And now Lucas Lodato setting the pace early. He is going to be the one to beat it. He wants everyone to know it here down the straightaway into turn 7. 163 miles an hour for Lodato into the braking zone, going way wide and then apexing it down out of the corner to get the best entry possible for turn 8, and that's going to set you up nicely for turn 9 and carrying the most speed you can through the front stretch and down into turn 1. Lucas Lodato leads the first 2 laps of Canadian Tire. And back down through turn 1 goes Lodato, 0.9 back to Chad Winstead, and Winstead under fire from the 93 of Justin Gibbs. Gibbs trying to make up some time on Winstead, but now lost a little bit there through turn 1. Winstead going a little bit wide on the entry. The 93 making up some time there. It's 0.5 back to Winstead. Winstead 0.7 back on the race leader, making up a little bit of time there. You see 2 drivers did not make the start of the race, 17 in it. 2 or 3 already have made mistakes. Xavier Moore in the back of the pack here. Dylan Pody has all of that right front damage after he went into the tire barrier, and Cody Bussard followed him in. Here's Bussard down the front straightaway. Must have had another issue. He's got a lot of front end damage on that machine, and out early is the 12 unless he gets a caution, which is going to be pretty hard to get. I think they're going to need a complete track blocker for that. But back up to the battle for the lead. Lodato and Winstead holding steady at about 0.7 of a second. Roberto Ramirez going for a pass on Colton Gardner out of turn 6 and completing the pass on the Taco Bell machine. The Premier Series driver making things happen early here. Had a disappointing result at Phoenix. A lot of bent up race trucks after that affair, and the 1 was not one to miss the incidents. Here is the 7. Continues to extend that gap 1 whole second back to Winstead. Winstead closes the gap back down the front straightaway and into turn 1 here. The big old blimp cam getting a view of that the crazy elevation change that you have here at Mosport. As the 7 goes back all the way down the hill, trying not to slide it out too wide and get into the wall as Pody did on lap 1. Making up a little bit of time as Winstead, 0.9 of a second down the hill. 0.7 back behind Winstead. It's going to be Justin Gibbs. Garrett Sidnor a second behind Gibbs, and 2.8 seconds off of Sidnor's Connor Holden in 5th. Him and Hunter Searleson have been under fire for Tyler Rush. Jacob Holm is there as well, as we got a little bit of a battle starting for the 5th spot. You see the 81 has a trail of trucks behind him, and he's trying to hold on right now. See the 76 of Jacob Holm right in the back there. The 77 of Hunter Searles is going to go for a move. If he can make one happen, here comes Searles. Down the back stretch, Hunter Searles in the perfect place to make a pass. He's got the speed on Hunter Holden. Can he make something happen here? Holden trying to hang on to the spot down the back straightaway. 160 miles an hour all the way down to almost 90 as they make their way through the corner. Down below 90 was Hunter Searles there. Now you see the 72 of Tyler Rush closing the gap behind him, but he loses that time on the entry and exit of 9. So very different lines being put to use here early. 39 minutes to go, 6 minutes in here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And the battle right here rages on. Roberto Ramirez getting another spot. That's on Dylan B. And he's definitely the big mover of the day. A couple positions up as Ramirez from his starting position. And now Roberto Ramirez trying to gain up on Jacob Holm, but that is a huge gap here. You see to the back bumper of Holm, nobody in sight. That's a whole corner separating 8th from 9th. Back up to the lead battle here. Chad Winstead holding steady at about 9/10 of a second. And now it's 8/10 down the straightaway. Winstead trying to make something happen. Closing the gap a little bit, but Lodato opens it up back down the back stretch. Justin Gibbs trailing in 3rd. He's dropped back off the pace just a little bit. 1.5 seconds from Winstead to Gibbs. Here's the 93 machine now. Gonna be under fire from Garrett Sidnor if he can make up some more time in the Speedy Cash number 50 machine. Here's Sidnor. 7/10 back on Gibbs. Back behind them. Here's the battle for 5th. The 77 of Searles right there on the back of Connor Holden through turn 9. Searles gets way wide. He's gonna get the drive off of turn 9. Here comes Searles through 1 and 2. Can he make something happen? Right there on the back bumper. 1/10 of a second as they go down into 1:30, 38 or so minutes remaining. Now this race is going by a little bit quicker. 8 minutes gonna be completed when this minute comes to a close. Here comes the 77 of Searles trying to make something happen on Connor Holden out of turn number 2 and through the trees and into 3. The 81 opens up the gap a little bit. 3/10 of a second or so between him and Searles. Now Colton Gardner. Oh, Roberto Ramirez has had an issue. Ramirez is way off track, or that's the 26 of Bate, but Ramirez is with him. And there must have been contact between the two, and we'll have to go back and take a look at it. As Roberto Ramirez ended up in the grass, and the 20, oh, he spins into the grass, and the 26 just follows him in there. And look at the 26. Oh, that's not the right camera angle there. You can't really see anything from here. Let's look at it one more time here. As here comes Ramirez. Flies into the corner and misses it. And then the 26 follows him in. And both of those guys back out on track. They're going to be 9th and 12th. And Ramirez losing all of the spots that he had just gained. And a good start gone bad for Roberto Ramirez. A lot of damage on the front end of that Taco Bell machine. Justin Gibbs looks like he's had an off. Here's Gibbs right in front of the cameraman up at the top of the hill. I think that's turn 9, and there may have been help from the cars behind him because that's not a place you spin at often. And we'll try and get a look at what happened here. This is towards the back of the pack. Justin Gibbs has already gone off track. And it looks like he just got loose on his own. Going into turn 9, loses it into the outside wall a little bit there, and it's going to become a lot more as he does a little wall ride and then gets it back onto the track, but spins out in the grass, and I think someone else was in the grass behind him there. I believe that was there was another truck back there in the grass. He gets it going, but it could have just been me seeing things. It looks like it was. That's just a light. So we're tripping a little bit here. As Hunter Searles now is going to go for a pass on Connor Holden, and Hunter Searles into the 4th spot. He's been looking for that move all race, and he finally gets it 10 minutes in to the 45-minute race. And Searles up into the 4th spot trying to run down Garrett Sidnor. Sidnor has lost even more time up to the back of the 34 as the guy ahead of him had spun. That's going to open up the gap to 3rd, and Winstead's not having a lot of pressure behind him at all as Lodato doesn't have pressure behind him. The gap continues to stay steady at 1 second or 9/10 of a second. And it's been that way ever since the 1st or 2nd lap. The 7 sliding into the corner, and back out of turn 2 goes Lodato. Trying to make something happen here and pull away from the leader for good. Chad Winstead trying to make something happen to close back up to his bumper. Garrett Sidnor gaining a bit of time on Winstead right there through the first section of the track, but Lodato, the fastest truck on the track last time by, 2/10 faster than Winstead on his lap. Garrett Sidnor was 3/10 slower than Winstead But Hunter Searles was second faster. Searles was quicker than Winstead, so Hunter Searles is going to be one to watch from the 4th spot, trying to make up some time on the race leaders. But it is still Lodado leading by a country mile, maybe a little less than that. It's 1.2 seconds as they make their way down into turn 7, the right-hander. The 7 getting in very deep. Look at that rear end sliding out. But he keeps it in check, and that Bearcat Motorsports machine right on by turn 8 and into turn 9. Absolutely wheeling that thing and pulling away. Dylan Podiat now has made a move on Colton Gardner. Going up into turn number 4 or 5. That's going to be turn 5 and 6. Colton Gardner having a little bit of internet issues there. And a little bit of left front damage on the 40 machine. And a little bit of left rear damage on the Jiffy Lube number 40 F-150. And he's going to be riding around now back in the 12th spot. Podiat off early in the race. And now trying to get some of those spots back. Right ahead of him is going to be Dylan Wedgwood coming out of turn 9, so definitely not right ahead of him. The 14 has got about 5.5 seconds back to him in that last top 10 position. Now Winstead making up a bit of time there. That last lap, Lodado a little bit quicker again, but Winstead closes the gap through the middle sector by a lot. 1/10 of a second he was quicker there, but the gap extends back down the back straightaway. Garrett Sidnor now losing a bit of time. Hunter Searles making up time. Searles was not quite as quick as he was the last couple of laps. Lodado and Winstead both picked up the pace and scooting away from the field. They are 3.2 seconds behind. Winstead is Garrett Sidnor in the 50 machine. And Sidnor trying to make something happen here. And with the 1 second difference seeming to stay the same. Will anything happen there? There's Podiat on by Wedgwood. Dylan Wedgwood must have had it off. He's lost 2 spots. And Dylan Wedgwood is up in the turn 5 and turn 6 area. He's gone off the track, and we'll have to see what happened to him. The 3rd or 4th, maybe 5th truck we've seen off track today, and he's had a spin, and when he gets it back going, he runs right into the tire barrier. He missed it by a little bit, but here he comes down the hill. The SP Designs number 14 Serve Pro Toyota Tundra. Here he's onto the brakes way too late, and that's gonna be in the tire wall. If he gets it locked up and stays on the tarmac long enough to get on the gas and spin it out, and then gets it going right here. Loses. There goes the 2 spots that he lost, and then another truck goes on by. And now Wedgwood gonna have to defend, but back up to the leaders. The 7 continues to lead. And with the gap staying the same, like I was trying to say before, take you to one of 2 NASCAR non-stops here on FTN. Oh, and there it looks like we've got a wreck on the front straightaway. Xavier Moore going around with Scott Puckett, I believe. There's the 79, and someone was spinning on the front stretch. It must have been Cody Bussard. There is the 12. Around on the front stretch, and we'll get a look on what happened there as he gets it back going. And I thought about saying we're going to go to a NASCAR crank it up for about a minute and a half. I tried to think of the word. and then I said non-stop. So maybe next week, or next time I do a crank it up today, I'll make sure to say the right word. There's the 12, gets on the gas, overcorrects, and loses the rear end. And a big slide here for the 12. We'll get another look at it here. Loose, overcorrects, and around he goes. And into the outside wall. And adding to the damage already on that 12 machine. He rides now 2 laps down in the 16th spot. Roberto Ramirez, the first DNF of the day. And he is out of things 5 laps down. But here's Buster now, hoping on a caution to get that time back. With the damage on just about every part of the truck. Right front, or front end looks fairly clean, but the left side, the left rear, the rear bumper, the right rear, and the right side, all with damage. Justin Gibbs and Tyler Rush going at it for the 6th position. Dylan Pody and Dylan Bate, the 2 Dylans here. Now that's Dylan Bate going around. They were racing, but I believe that's been a spin for Dylan Bate. Here comes the 40 of Colton Gardner and another truck around. And this time it's Dylan Bate, and we'll have to see what happened to him. It was coming down out of turn 3, it looks like. Down the hill, gets it in, cooked it a little too deep, but I don't think that's where the wreck's going to start right here when he tries to get back down to the inside. Oh, he's just going to hit the grass, so just completely misses the corner and then gets loose when he gets into the grass. Around he goes. And Dylan Poteet, hang on, has to go through the grass to miss the 26 machine of Dylan Bate, but it looks like he's going to be alright here in the long run. Only a couple positions lost here. He's already back on by the 40 of Gardner. And riding in 10th is Dylan Bate, but back up to the lead. Chad Winstead has closed the gap on your race leader. And while we looked at those spins, this gap shrunk. It's 0.4 of a second. Winstead closing the gap now as they catch their first lap truck of the day. I think that is going to be Dylan Wedgwood, unless it's Buster, but I think it is Wedgwood up there. Yeah, that's going to be Wedgwood going through turn 7. There go the race leaders. So here comes the 7, just coming into the corner as Wedgwood comes out. That could play into the hands of Lodato or Winstead, as the 7 hangs onto the spot by 0.6, extends the gap back to 0.7. So it may have just been a little bit of a mistake by the 7. There, the 34 getting onto the grass out of the final corner and losing all that time that he had gained. It's back to a 2nd down into turn 1 again. The 7 was under fire for a minute there, lost a lot of time. It was 0.4 when I look back at timing and scoring now. It's dropped back down to 0.9, 0.8 as they go through that 2nd turn. There's the lap truck. Again, the 14 machine 0.7 back to the 34. He's trying to make something happen. Hunter Searles has ran down Garrett Sidnor for 3rd. And Searles now almost within a second of that 3rd spot in that final podium position. 1.1 seconds now is Searles, but more importantly, the race leader is Lodato. Extends the gap again. It's almost like he can just pull away whenever he wants. Just an Owen sticker on the side of that machine, and the 14 goes around right in front of the 2 leaders. Cody Bussard spins it out, and or not Cody Bussard, sorry, Dylan Wedgwood. That's going to be Wedgwood there in the 14 going 1 lap down. There's the battle for 3rd, which has gotten a lot more interesting than the battle for the lead, as those guys are very close here. Back up the hill within 0.3 is Searles. He's got to run into turn 7. Here comes Searles, closing the gap up to Garrett Sidnor, 0.3, but Sidnor gets away right there. Sidnor not quite having the apex that it needed, and Hunter Searles is going to be right there. Needs one good corner here. He can get him into one if he gets to run off. The 60 or the 50 machine rather gets a bit of wheel spin out of the corner. Now 20 minutes into the 45-minute race, and we've got a couple of great battles going on the track right here for the lead and for 3rd. It's Connor Holden in 5th, no pressure for him. Justin Gibbs in 6th, no pressure for him. Tyler Rush in 7th. Jacob Holm 10 seconds behind him in 8th. Dylan Pody 5 seconds behind Holm in 9th. And Colton Gardner is going to be back 12 seconds behind Pody. The last truck in the top 10, Dylan Bates, Scott Puckett, and Xavier Moore. 13 trucks on the lead lap. Wedgwood 1 down. Jason Harris on pit road 3 down. Cody Buster out on track 4 down. Roberto Ramirez 7 down out of the race, and Ty Smith now has just gotten onto the track, I believe. He's entered pit road at least, but he's not actually pulled out of pit road, but he is going to be all the way 14 laps down to not start the race. And that is your points leader, Ty Smith, who did not make an attempt to start. He sits in pit road now. Here's the battle for third, as the leaders kind of extended the gap. Again, the 50 machine, the 5.0 here, trying to pull away from Searles in the 77. Searles is a lot quicker right here in turn 8. Look at how much time he makes up on him, but back on board through turn 9. The 50 gets away a little better, but this time Searles is a lot closer, within 2/10. Within 3/10, I should say. He's going to have to make a move here. The 50 goes in very deep, slides the rear end. But that's going to allow him to pull away, as he absolutely got the thing pointed out of the first corner. You can hear Searles just playing with the throttle, trying to make something happen. So many different lines that these guys are running. Sidnor going super wide, absolutely abusing the front tires right there down the hill. But that's Garrett Sidnor, rather. Searles keeps it playing on the inside, the 50 all over the gas, and I feel like if they make it all the way on tires and are on fuel, that's gonna be really tough in 50 at the end of this race. The 77 closes the gap with them, driving like that. Now he's running for his life. A big slide from the 77, getting down to his apex, getting the run off of turn 6 again down the straightaway. This is where he's been quicker, trying to make up some time, but he's actually going to lose a bit here. Now he makes up time through the gears and pulls a little bit on Garrett Sidnor, but nothing happening quite yet for him. Here, just 22.5 minutes to go, halfway through this event. And there's the 77 down on the pit road, so pit strategy is going to play into effect here for the race leaders, as Searles is going to be the first taker, I believe, on the pit road. Here's Searles down all by himself. I think Dylan Wedgwood got past, but I don't think he's on pit road. Oh, there is Dylan Wedgwood going for a big slide, and Wedgwood almost off the track. Oh, watch out. Watch out there. That's going to be the 81 of Holden now. Wedgwood has been lapped by just about everyone. Here's Searles getting passed by Justin Gibbs down on pit road. Searles with the right side down. I think he's going to be ready to go here. That's going to be the left side down. The right side comes back up. Tyler Rush and Connor holding on by him. And that's going to be a battle for 5th. So battles just about everyone on the track. It's going to be the battle for the provisional 6th spot when everyone's done with their pit style, or pit strategy here. But I think, oh, the 14 is spun out again right in front of the 77 exiting pit road. So watch out there. He is all over the place. And he's been lapped by just about everyone now. And here comes the 77. He's going to be a lot quicker. He was super fast earlier in the race. The leader's about 2 seconds off of their qualifying time, so he lost a lot of time pitting. He's 43 seconds back on your race leader. He's going to need to be 2 seconds quicker than him for the rest of the race if he wants a chance to catch Lodato or Winstead. It's going to be more like 35 seconds to the back of Garrett Sidnor, who he was racing earlier. So he's going to need to put down some absolute heaters and hope that these guys up in the lead have to pit as well. Here is Lodato, 2 seconds back to Chad Winstead. Winstead starting to fall off. The guy who you thought would be the man to beat now is the one chasing the 7 of Lodato with fantastic race up to this point. 20 minutes to go. We'll be right back with you here on FTN. Lucas Lodato leads ahead of Chad Winstead. And now we've got trouble. The 34 of Winstead from second place has hit the wall and surrenders the spot to Garrett Sidnor. What happened? He was riding in the second spot comfortably. And you can hear him hitting the wall right there, and by the camera we'll get the view on the blimp here. Goes in too deep. Tries to keep it off the wall, but he was not as lucky as the last man who did that. I can't recall who, but the last driver who got into the corner too deep was able to stay on the racetrack and spin it out. Into the wall goes Winstead, now 10 seconds behind the leader. Lost 8 seconds there, and that damage in that tire spin is going to hurt him. Tyler Rush losing a spot to Connor Holden. That is for fourth. So Holden has made the pass for the fourth position there. As Hunter Searles is about 5 seconds back on this battle here on board with Searles down the back straightaway. And chipping out is Searles in third gear, so he must have had a little bit of problems because he was not going all that quick down the straightaway. Dylan Bate around Xavier Moore. That is going to be a battle for 12th, but I believe Moore is on pit road, and he is. There's the 79 down on pit road. Dylan Wedgwood, I believe, going on by. Well, that's going to be Wedgwood right there, so it's going to be someone behind them going across the stripe. I think it might be Ty Smith or Cody Bussard. Ty Smith still on pit road. Here's Bussard through turn number 2, or that's going to be turn 7, I believe. And the 12 has got damage all over that truck trying to hang on to a spot, but he's 5 laps down to your leader. Here is the battle for fourth. Tyler Rush trying to hang on to the back of the 81, and closing the gap is Searles by a lot. It was 5 seconds last time I looked, 3.5 now. Podied in Holm. Now there's a pass for the 7th spot. Here is Dylan Pody. Jacob Holm right on his rear end, but the pass was just made, and Holm's going to start to fall back a little bit. Here's on board with Pody, now with Holm right behind him. Completely different lines here. I love to see it. These guys have so much choice of lane, and they're all quite quick. And we saw it especially with, I believe, the battle for third, where it was Sidner running super wide in the turns, and then behind him Hunter Searles keeping it to the bottom. It's super cool to see that. Just means there's going to be more opportunity to pass and more opportunity for some great racing here, and we've had that all day. Thank you for coming in and showing your support in the live. And it's been a great day of racing up to this point, but just about 17 minutes left in this race. We're almost ready for the second of 2 crank it ups. And this time I'm not going to say non-stop. I'm not going to say non-stop. 17 minutes to go. Give it 2 minutes, and probably we'll end up saying NASCAR non-stop, but it's all good right there. And so we will see if we can make anything happen. But Holm losing a lot of time on your race leader. Leaf Upset back in the chat. Hello, Leaf. How's it going, buddy? Got a side bet on the Taco Bell truck. I'm pretty sure. Now 16:40 left in the race. Make it 16:30 as Garrett Sidnor 9.5 seconds off of your race leader. Lucas Lodato. Back to Sidnor in second, Chad Winstead in third, Connor Holden in fourth, Tyler Rush in fifth, Hunter Searles in sixth, Dylan Pody 7th, Jacob Holm in 8th, Justin Gibbs in 9th, Colton Gardner 10th, Scott Puckett in 11th, Dylan Bodie in 12th, Dylan Wedgwood 13th, Xavier Moore 14th, and Cody Bussard 15th, all the way back to Ty Smith on pit road, but Harrison Ramirez out of the race 16th and 17th. Here is Lodato. Still 9.5 seconds back to Sidnor. Hunter Searles has gotten around one of the 2 trucks that he was racing with here. This is a very good battle for position. This is for fourth. Searles on the fresh tires. He's made up just about 5 seconds on your race leader. Last lap was only a 10th faster. The tire's not playing quite into the hand that he wanted to right now, hoping the leaders are going to need to pit. And right after this battle is completed, we're going to go to the crank it up. That's what I'm going to say. That's what we're going to do here. And we're going to wait and see if the 77 can make a pass. He surrendered the position back to Holden. Or that was Dylan Pody, who we got 5. Pody falling way back. I believe that that was Tyler Rush who pitted. So here comes Tyler Rush. I believe he did. And Hunter Searles now making the pass. Down the back stretch, and Hunter Searles up into the spot. And now we'll go back to the second crank it up. And hopefully we don't get interrupted by a spin this time. We can watch your race leader. Thank you for tuning in here on FTN and Tex-A-Con Truck Series. We'll be right back. And it looks like we've had an issue with the microphones here. I'm not quite sure what happened with that, but nevertheless, Garrett Sidnor gets it done, and I think it must have just had something turned off there. But nevertheless, Garrett Sidnor gets it done. And we'll talk to the man now. Getting into the interview booth. Garrett Sidnor, you were up in the top 5 all day, but didn't really look like you were going to have a chance at a win unless it became a battle there, and then everyone ran out of fuel. What did you do to save until the end? Because basically everyone you were racing ran out.
Yeah, I was saving the whole race. I had a feeling that it could come down to the wire, and I just did the best I could to just be up there, be close, not make any mistakes. Just blown away. I'm blown away. I can't believe we did that. But yeah, we won it on fuel mileage. Incredible.
Yeah, that was a very exciting finish to say the least. And next week is Homestead. How do you feel about your chances there?
I love Homestead as a racetrack. I love ripping the wall there. Really good racetrack, and I'm looking forward to it. Got banged up the last couple weeks, but finally got one on the truck season. Hopefully, I can do it again next week.
Yeah, well, congratulations on the win, and anything else like to say? Anyone like to thank?
Yeah, I just want to thank John Peterson and Ray Tustin for the paint schemes they put on these trucks and every single car they make for me. The Speedy Cash truck was really fast tonight. Mom and Dad for Glory Art and Photography and the whole crew there. So, yeah, on to the next one.
Well, congratulations on the win. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And that was your race winner. And we're going to get in Chad Winstead here. Qualified on pole, fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying. Ran second for just about every lap. And then you were going to have a chance to fight for the win. You had so much more pace there at the end. What were you doing at the end of the race? Just whether it be not saving any more gas. And you had all that pace of the race leader.
Yeah, I mean, I just saved, as soon as I lost the lead at the beginning of the race, I just started saving tire and then saving gas just a little bit. I knew it was going to be tight. Just unfortunately, I made one mistake in the race, and it was trying to calculate fuel mileage while going into the horn, and didn't give it enough brake, and just lost my concentration, spun out, hit the tire barrier, and that cost me pretty much the win.
Yeah, well, you almost had it there, and you were definitely going to have a shot at the win if you didn't run out of fuel. But next week is going to be Homestead. How do you feel about your chances there?
I feel pretty good. I'm usually feeling confident about on those tracks and that size. So hopefully you can get a good running there, because the first couple of weeks in the truck series I've had some really bad luck with getting wrecked out. So felt like I had the race win last week. I was trying to run down first place at the end and got wrecked, and then today trying to run down the leader, saving gas, and just didn't quite save enough. I knew I was going to run out as soon as I hit the last lap, so I just started coasting. I knew Garrett was going to get around me, and I probably should have tried to push it there just a little bit on the last few turns, but I definitely ran out coming out of the last turn, so I don't think it would have helped me. I'm pretty sure he would have won regardless.
Yeah, well, you had a fantastic race, and congratulations on the P2. Anything else like to say? Anyone like to thank?
Yeah, I mean, just congrats on Garrett. I think that might be his first win here. But congrats on him. Good job saving fuel. And thanks to everybody that's watching. I know I got some friends and family watching the race. So, Will, I'm sorry that I lost you a bet. Yeah, I'll take responsibility for that one.
Well, yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And that was Chad Winstead in P2. We're going to pull in Hunter Searles here, P3 on the night, after being basically the only person to differentiate from the strategy, which was staying out. What made you think that the bidding for tires was going to be the way to go?
Oh, I mean, those laps go hot, and I thought that a lot of people were probably going to be trying to go for the fuel strat and whatnot. So I thought maybe if I could get in and get some tires, get some freshes on there, and run some hot laps, I might be able to make up the differentiation,
Yeah, well, P3 on the night, definitely not a bad result. You had enough fuel to push it all the way to the end, but they're just not close enough to get to the win. Was there anything you think you could have done differently to had a shot at it?
Um, Honestly, I gave it my best shot, and with the help from Tyler and TSM, Turtle Shell Motorsports and stuff, he was giving me some pointers. I mean, this is like the first league race I had done. This is the first oval track racing I've done, and when they said that there was going to be a road course on the roster, I was pretty jazzed because that's my jam. And pretty much it was just lock in and stay focused. And I did the best I could, turn some laps, but those guys got pretty far ahead. So I was pretty lucky because it looked like the number 7 car ran out of gas, and I don't think his strat really worked out for him. So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have even been on the podium in the first place. But I'm pretty jazzed.
Yeah, well, gonna go back to the left turns only next week at Homestead. How do you feel about your chances there?
Um, I'm not as comfortable doing left turns only, but I mean, racing is racing, and it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy the league and everything. So I'm still learning a lot, but I think with a lot of practice and tips from Tyler and the boys on my team, I think I have a pretty good shot.
Well, anything else like to say? Anyone like to thank before I let you go?
No, just the boys at Turtle Shell Motorsports, Tyler and Justin, and all those guys for cheering me on. Justin put on a heck of a show. It looked like he kind of got into a bit of a scrap there in the beginning, but he was able to claw his way back up to 4th place, and I'm super proud of him for that.
Well, yeah. So, teammates helping you out, and thank you for your time.
Yep.
So that is gonna do it. And I just have to say, now that I realize it, I don't know how long my mic was turned off for, and I know everyone got to see the finish, but you didn't get to hear it. And my call was probably the best call of all time, so it's really disappointing that you didn't get to hear it. You didn't get to have your ears blessed there at the end of the race, but hopefully it didn't last too long with no call, and we'll get the results up on the screen. This time they're not going to be all messed up like they were at Phoenix. And we're to get it up here now. Garrett Sidnor from the back of the top 5 up to the win. Chad Winstead from pole to 2nd in the 34 machine. Hunter Searles back up to 3rd. The road course ringer, not a big fan of the ovals, but he got it done here. Top 3 on the road course. Justin Gibbs, his teammate, back in 4th and 93 machine. Dylan Pody coming back up to 5th. To come home in the 5th spot in the 31 machine after the incident in the first lap. Connor Holden up into 6th in the 81 truck after having a couple incidents. Tyler Rush up to 7th in the 72. Lucas Lodato, who led every lap until the last, runs out of gas. And the last truck on the last lap, or the last truck on the lead lap, I believe, it will be the 7 machine. He did not finish the race. Jacob Holm in the 76 comes home P9, and then Colton Gardner rounds out the top 10. Scott Puckett back in 11th, Dylan Bodie in 12th, Xavier Moore coming home 13th, Dylan Wentworth in the 14 machine in 14th, Cody Bussard in the 12 comes home 15th, Jason Harris in 16th, Roberto Ramirez in 17th. Harrison Ramirez did not finish the race. Ty Smith and Adam Bossy did not start. I believe Bossy did a couple laps at the end there, as it's only being shown as 32 laps down, but obviously not everyone here was 35. Oh no, get off my screen. Okay. Anyways, did not finish 35 laps down there, and so that is gonna do it for tonight's affair. And again, I apologize if you guys couldn't see or hear, I should say, the final call, but a fantastic race. And congratulations to everyone on the podium. Chad Winstead getting his first win of the season. Garrett Sidnor, Chad Winstead in 2nd, and then Hunter Searles coming home in 3rd in one of his first Oval League starts, so big congrats to him, and congrats to everyone. It was a fantastic race, and other than that, this has been a showing of the Tex-A-Con Truck Series of the Highline Racing League on Fireball Talks NASCAR, and we hope you have a good night.